Greetings and salutations, friends. I have some new models of Ohana ukuleles to show you, and it's kind of exciting, I think. This year, the Martin Company is celebrating 100 years in being in the ukulele business, which is exciting to the ukulele community in general. And they have a centennial version of their a couple of their instruments coming out this year, including the Martin Style 3, which is nearly $3,000. So what's kind of cool is that Ohana this year is actually putting out their own sort of copy of the old Martin 3, but at a much more affordable price, of course. And I did a little research so I can tell you about the things that I'm looking at. If you ever want to learn more about the history of the Martin ukulele, there's this wonderful books that is by my friend Tom Walsh and the late great John King, and very helpful as I'm going through this instrument that I'm going to tell you about right now. So this is the new line from Ohana, the CK and SK 39s. This is the soprano, the SK 39. It's a copy of a Martin 3. The Martin Company has made a number of models over the years. They've had the 0 or the O, 1, 2, 3, and 5, and all in ascending degrees of fanciness in terms of the look and whatnot. And the 3 you might think of as the artist's model back in the day. It's the level that many professional musicians would be able to afford. The 5K, a little fancy, a little out of their league, but this is what the 3 is. And this is a mahogany model for you to check out. Now let me point out some things about it that make it hearken to, even look just like a vintage Martin 3M. So this is an all-solid mahogany build. It is, it has purfling on the front there, on the outside there, on the rosette, and that stripe continues down the center of the fretboard. Does not match exactly the number of rings as the original Martin does, but that's if that matters to you, then you know now. It doesn't matter to me. Also, this lovely detail that you would call a pendeloque, which is a shape that's supposed to evoke the image of a cloud. It harkens back to the original Portuguese sailors who are storied to have brought the original instrument that morphed into the ukulele. This pendeloque and the Ohana model is a bit more angular than the original Martin is and was. And the Martin model, it would be a little bit more like the end of the fretboard here, which I don't know if you can see that, it's a little swoopier. And in the original, the pendeloque and the end of the fretboard would be the same shape exactly. So minor detail to me, but if you're nitpicky, that's something you want to know about. Also, this has an extended fingerboard, which is not the case on some of the lesser models. It has 17 frets rather than 12, which the base model would have had. And you see these fret markers. Many of the 3 models from Martin would have had diamond-shaped fret markers. And I thought, well, that's it. This couldn't match any old Martins. But looking at this book here, there was a section of time in the 60s where Martin actually used round fret markers instead of diamonds. So, you know, we're still okay. Also, you've got the shape of the headstock is evoking the traditional shape of a Martin ukulele. And indeed, the shape of the body is traditionally known, to my mind, and a number of people, as the a Martin-shaped soprano. You have some models today that are out there that are sopranos, which have a kind of a wider body, a wider bass. Usually they're Hawaiian and koa. So I think in my mind of that as the Hawaiian soprano, and I think of this shape as a Martin soprano. But that might just be in my own little head. It's got friction tuners, as would have been the case and still is today. And binding on the front and the back. In the old Martin, it would have been a sort of plastic. That's not the technical material, but it's plastic. But here on the Ohana, it is a maple binding. Same goes for the Pendeloque. It's made out of maple as well. And I actually like that difference. I'm not a purist. I don't need it to be exactly the same. And I kind of like the wood look. So you can take that or leave it as it is. Let me let you see this premium solid mahogany that this is made with. It's kind of gorgeous. Now, I don't own a Martin 3 because I can't afford it, but I do own a vintage Martin O or 0 from about the 50s or so. And I'm going to use that to show you that there's a difference in the heel. The Martin is a lower profile heel. The neck is a little thinner this way on the Martin than it would be than it is on the Ohana. Minor thing. And the fret, you didn't hear that. The fretboard this way on the Martin is a little wider and a little narrower on the Ohana. Little things that you might not notice if I didn't point them out to you, but I'm here to give you information, so that's what I'm doing for you. I think I covered everything. This is going to retail MSRP at $429. It's going to come out in May of this year, 2017. And I think the Martin Centennial equivalent will be almost $3,000. So that's when you're asking yourself which one do I want. It's what's your budget. But here's how they sound. This is the Ohana SK 39. This is the old vintage Martin that's been being played for generations, not generations, but many years. There you go, I can give you a sense of that. I'm really fairly impressed with the Ohana sound. This is a quality of wood that's producing some good sustain and a really good resonance and a nice tone. I really like it. And the strings and the fret, the whole shebang here is very well balanced. Things are really ringing out nicely. Now to show you the big brother, which is the concert model, the CK39. Same design elements here, slightly different scale of course. And a compensated saddle, which is something that Ohana does on their concerts. And the Pendeloque is a little bigger, I guess, for the bigger bout. But otherwise, same sort of thing. And I have for you not a vintage Martin concert, but the CK38, which is Ohana's copy of a Martin 2, here for your comparison. So you can see they do this in a darker finish, and this shows off the mahogany better, and you've got your different accents going on there too. I'll do a sound sample for these two so you can kind of get a little comparison. Just so you know, these have living water strings on them and these have Aquila strings on them, so they might sound slightly different because of that, but it is what it is. That's the 39. Here's the 38. Interspersed with my clock going off and telling you it's the half hour. But that's what we've got. We've got two very affordable, very similar models to the original Martins. MSRP $429 on the Soprano, MSRP $499 on the Concert, and you can get the look, the feel, and I think a lot of the sound for not as much money. So this is the Ohana CK and SK 39 coming out in May 2017. It's worth checking out.